What up, y'all? It's Nate Almighty, aka the Global Dark Skin Ambassador, and I want to talk about Young Thug. And I want to really explain why I think that Young Thug deserves prison time and he deserves to remain in prison. And it's not because I'm a hater. It's not because I necessarily wish prison on no man. I'm saying this because Young Thug has been famous for a long time, and I feel like he didn't take full advantage of his opportunity. And just like what happened to me, just like what happened to anyone else who come from the same kind of environments that we come from, when you take your freedom for granted, when you go out of your way to break the law and think that you're never gonna get caught, eventually them boys gonna come for your ass. Now, when you think about Young Thug, right? Young Thug is somebody who, when he came up and when he was originally coming down the streets, even though he was wearing dresses and saying weird stuff like we smoking penises, the talk around the industry, the talk amongst rappers when they spoke about Thug was, yeah, but he really him in the streets. So from the moment Young Thug came into the game, he was already known for being in the streets. He was already a known blood member, right? And he spent all this time changing his life. He spent all this time making all this money, making millions of dollars, but he still managed to get himself wrapped up in the situation. Now, I wasn't gonna make this video, but being that like yesterday or the day before, I seen a news report that someone else who's very close to Young Thug just got pinched for a murder charge. And I'm thinking of it this way. Young Thug was a leader of men. Young Thug was a leader of many men. Young Thug is somebody who he could have changed the trajectory of all the other people that was around him. He could have forced every single co-defendant that he has before it got as bad as it was to change their ways, or they can't be around him. And in order to be around him, they would have changed their ways. But instead, he wanted to still rep a gang. He wanted to encourage the people around him to still partake in street activities. Of course, you know, he could have been dealing with some things that went on before he got on, and he just ain't get out of it, you know, similar to people like Lil Durk, Chief Keef and them, right? But at the end of the day, you want to know why 50 Cent is still alive and he never had to do any prison time after he got on? It's because he did not allow anyone around him. Now, he might have gotten into certain mishaps in the beginning of his career, but very quickly, he stopped allowing the people around him to do dumb shit. That's the difference. That's why 50 Cent lived to be one of the highest selling rappers in history, still one of the most famous and recognizable by face, most well-known rappers around the world. He got to advance and become a TV executive, and now we have the Power Universe because of him. He got to have the opportunity to advance. Young Thug was a leader of men, like I said. And instead of doing everything in his power to encourage men to be greater than what they were, he chose to remain the same person he was when he first got on. That's his biggest mistake. We have a problem in our community where everybody want to keep it so real. Everybody want to be afraid to begin to live a new life, or at least try to live a new life. Everybody has a big issue with letting go people whose actions are counterproductive to the way that you should be living your life in order to remain a millionaire who feeds almost 10 kids. You got parents, both your parents still alive. You got all these friends. You got all these sisters and brothers. I believe Young Thug has 11 siblings, right? He failed his family. He failed his kids. He got a baby mother who was murdered, and it may or may not have something to do with whatever was going on with his team in the streets. Young Thug deserves prison time. And like I said, I'm not a hater. This is somebody who I've done prison time myself. When you come from the streets and you come up breaking laws and getting away with some laws or doing a little bit of juvie time, most people who do juvie time, just like I did, all it does is, if you thrive in there, you lose that fear of jail. You still don't respect what having your freedom is. Young Thug is one of those people who did not respect his freedom. Now, if through his lawyers he finds a loophole and he's home, I'm sure he's not going to get into the same type of shenanigans that he used to get into. I'm sure he's going to completely separate himself from these things, right? But in the event that he doesn't, I feel like he deserves that prison time, and that prison time, he'll have the opportunity to sit down and reflect on the horrible decisions that he's made. You gotta understand, Young Thug, I'm gonna keep repeating this, was a leader of men. Many men, 10, 20, maybe even 30, 40 men from his hood in Atlanta. He was a leader of a family, a leader of children. You gotta understand that. Young Thug is a bad leader. And he's not the only bad leader, you know? A lot of us are bad leaders because we ain't had shit. We come from nothing. So we don't know how to lead in the beginning. But if you going as wild as Young Thug was allegedly doing, even though some of this stuff, it seems like they got him dead to rights. But like I said, I'm not wishing prison on anyone. But what I am saying is, prison humbles people. Smart people, they serve their time, they formulate a plan while they're in there, they come home, and oftentimes people come home from prison and they blow past whoever did not do no jail time. Thug is dealing with a situation where multiple people are snitching on him. Gunna dry snitched on him. He got a little homie who just got locked up for murder. There's always a chance he'll snitch on Young Thug and reveal some information in order to get less time. That's the thing about being a gang member. When you get wrapped up with all these dudes, somebody's gonna tell. Somebody's gonna tell, bro. So it's like he willingly put himself in a position to get told on. And when you think about the men Young Thug was in charge of and leading, who he had to set an example for. When you think about his parents and his children, his brothers and sisters, Young Thug failed 30 to 50 people. Now, of course, he ain't responsible for what a whole bunch of grown men do. But in a way, he is. He is the person who sets the influence. He's the person who could have been in interviews, and even when the cameras is not on him, he's the person who's supposed to be talking to his people saying, hey, listen, all this illegal stuff you doing, stay away from me. I don't want no parts of this. He was supposed to be cutting niggas off. And because he didn't, look at what he's going through. He's been locked up a year and some change now. A year and some change now. And yeah, he's not gonna snitch, most likely. He might come home on a loophole type of situation and have time served and parole or probation. Or they can F him up the anus and he can get 5, 10, 15, 20 years for situations that he could have took the first 2 years of his bubbling career to get rid of, bro. And then when they decided to try to lock him up and do all this stuff last year, he'd have been home by now. Gunna wouldn't have had to done what he did. But you know, if you're a mature person, you'll understand what I'm saying and you'll be able to rationalize what I'm saying. If you wholeheartedly feel like I'm a hater or like I'm wishing prison on somebody or something of the sort, then you're either a child who never really did jail time, or you're somebody who is involved in the streets and you're an irresponsible person. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.